Welcome back. You with us here on Opening Fire. 22 points on the Nifty right now. So we're at about 7,913. You got the Sensex, which is up about 90 points, 26,450. So indices are looking pretty good. Nishal Maheshwari, co-head institutional equities and head of research at Edelweiss Securities, is with us. Nishal, good morning. Pleasure having you here. Prashant this side. I want to start straight up with United Spirits, Nishal. What do you think the implications are of what has happened over the last 2 days? Out of the Nifty, out of F&O, the state of Kerala thinking of becoming a dry state?
Yeah, I think, Prashant, there are challenges in the short term. There is no doubt about that. And especially that the company has not declared its Q4 results till date. So recently they came out with this thing that they require more time to declare the Q4 results, and we are in the Q1 of the next year actually. So I think you can understand what kind of a mess the company is in right now. But having said that, I think the market is very good actually, though in the last 3-4 years it has not done much actually, if you look at the total consumption pattern. But going ahead, as the economy picks up, I think that market will also pick up. And Diageo being the prominent player actually through McDowell or United Spirits now, I think if the stock goes down to around 2,000 rupees in this whole downside, I think it's a good pickup at those prices.
Nishal, USL was touted as the best consumer play in India. Would you agree it still is?
I think so. There is no doubt about that. I wouldn't say a best consumer play, but is it a good consumer play? There is no doubt about that.
Do you think other states can follow Kerala's example? Kerala is about 8 to 10% of USL's volumes.
It is the 7% consumption of the country happens there. Now people are assuming, and we also believe, that it's going to be the same for USL. Now Kerala is talking about banning in the next 10 years. So every year 10% of its shops or licenses are going to get closed. I don't think so that banning something basically puts any or reduces consumption. Otherwise people would have done for cigarettes for long back actually, and I don't know whether the same situation is there in Gujarat, and Gujarat is a prohibited state for a long time.
So I think Prashant and Nishal, what is likely to happen is that the ban in Kerala will raise Tamil Nadu's consumption of liquor. People from Kerala will go to Tamil Nadu and get it. You'll see USL's share from Tamil Nadu increase.
So it just increases the smuggling from Tamil Nadu to Kerala, that's all.
Right, Prashant, you had more questions for Nishal on USL.
Nishal, but what do you think is going to be okay, let me just come back to the basic point, right, about what's likely to be the whole on USL's balance sheet. Do you have a number in mind? Because various kind of figures are floating in the market. What do you think it is likely to be?
No, I think Prashant, there is no point in speculating about it basically. The numbers may be whatever people may be talking about, but let them come out with the balance sheet and the numbers actually, and I think they are just getting their arms around the whole problem actually. It is going to be a one-time write-off whatever happens basically, and then you are going forward. So business has not gone bad, the consumption pattern has not gone bad, and they are still the most dominant player in the country. So they have around 40-45% market share, which is phenomenal. So we just need the right management there. Once you have the right management, I think everything will start falling in place in the next. So it's a waiting game basically. And Diageo, given that it's an international company basically and has very high ethics as far as CG is concerned, so I think they will get their act together here also.
But don't you think the wait gets a lot longer? And two-part question. One, do you think Diageo walked into this deal slightly with their eyes shut? They didn't see all this. The audits etc. wouldn't have thrown up a lot of this stuff. Because I mean, if it had, then results declaration did not have to get deferred 2 times, 2 quarters. And second, don't you think the much talked about improvement at USL, which Diageo was supposed to bring about, is going to take a lot longer if they're going to take a big write-off here?
So I think so basically that the turnaround and this thing will take a bit longer basically, and that's why I think Diageo doesn't want to come out with numbers for Q4 unless they are very sure about it, what numbers are there really on the ground. So I think they are taking their time, and I think that is good actually. So once they want to produce a picture basically which they are not going to go back on. So that's the mark of a good company actually. So they are just taking their time, which is okay by people basically. It doesn't take away that Diageo or United Spirits still has more than 40% market share, one of the largest number of million brands, and doesn't take away that the market is big and it's growing. So I think these are all the things basically which have attracted Diageo to this country, and they will just get it right. I think, yeah, is it a longer wait than what people would have expected? Yes, it is.
On the futures and options thing, I just wanted to ask you, there's about $155 million in outstanding open interest in USL. What's your sense? Do you think USL was largely a cash and carry arbitrage kind of stock, Nischal? Long futures, long cash, short futures, and other kind of arbitrage activity. So bulk of this open interest belongs to the arbitrage category. So how do you think it will get unwound, and any indications of how much selling we are likely to see as this gets unwound? Of course, it's got time. It doesn't have to happen in a single day. But what's your sense?
So I think Diageo, so there was an arbitrage which when the open offer happened and the whole world was in that arbitrage, basically the stock ran up and then you were making some quick money out there. So I think that got done, and after that I think the stock has reacted and come back to where it started from, around 2300. So I think that's where the pressure is right now actually. Can the stock react down to maybe 2200, 2000? There is a fair possibility that stock goes down to around 2000, 2200, and I think that could be a good level actually to enter that stock.
Right, we were trying to work out the technical levels, and 200-week exponential moving average on United Spirits is at about 1850. So not dramatic changes are likely. It's already trading well below its 200-day moving average and 55-day moving average. Nischal, I want to move a little bit into the PSU Bank issue. What is your view? What is this action on PSU banks going to play out like?
So my view on PSU Bank, I think my earlier interactions with you guys have been very clear, and I still continue to maintain it. PSU banks are at best trading buys basically. So given that, and I am one or two things basically as a category of banks basically I don't like about them is, it's banks, there are only two things. One is how much capital you have available, and the second is the quality of people, and the so these two things are a problem as far as PSU banks are concerned. Here,
aren't you specifically asking, Nischal, about the action being taken against PSU banks by the CBI and likely to happen to some other banks? One is the what impact it has on the bank itself. The other is on the corporates who are also getting caught in that process.
I think the law has to take its own course. I don't have much view on that.
No, what I'm saying is that do you see some sort of a domino effect happening, that as the PSU banks get cleaned up, smaller companies which had distressed assets, they're going to be under a little bit of pressure?
Obviously, if they are caught in any of these things, basically, they will be under pressure.
No, so do you see some of them collapsing in the market, the small cap companies which are highly leveraged, small cap to lower mid cap companies?
See, I don't see any change happening unless they are caught into any of these things.
Okay, yesterday we had one market expert who said that one of the problems that we'll probably face is a sort of lending paralysis will set in because of what is happening.
I don't see any reason because there is no great lending which is happening right now because there is no demand in the market at all. So lending which has slightly picked up recently basically, but I think two things are happening if I speak to a lot of companies on the ground. So you have seen the first signs of clearances coming for projects and long pending projects, whether it was tower manufacturing, whether it was various other projects, roads and all. So first clearances have started coming in. So some amount of cash flows will start flowing in there. As far as the capex, main capex or bulk capex is concerned, basically I don't see that moving at least for another couple of quarters because demand is yet to come back. So first the demand has to come back and then the capex will happen. So I don't see.
Given that, would you be in defensives at the moment? What would you be buying?
No, I would still be positioned on the rate sensitives, betting on that the revival is going to be there, and this government is going to start moving things around.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, Nishchal Maheshwari. Pleasure talking to you as usual. We'll see you back soon.
Thank you.
We're going to take a short break right now.